I'm right with Mike on this. I mean, you don't put up the Christmas tree until after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, fucking goon. I don't know what he's doing, but it's not living right.
Right?
What?
I mean, Thanksgiving, you can't forget about Thanksgiving. It's just, I mean, you think about it, it is just as important of a holiday, right?
It is. And speaking of important things that we have forgotten about, where's the fucking intro?
Fuck shit. Fuck.
Hey, Farva, what's the name of that restaurant you like with all the goofy shit on the walls and the mozzarella sticks?
Welcome to the Cam Shenanigans Podcast.
You mean shenanigans? No! You're talking about shenanigans, right?
Where Mike, Trent, and Zach, and a guest will debate all things automotive.
Our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Make sure to check out Cam Automag on all the social medias at Cam Automag. And don't forget to support our sponsor, Hustle Energy.
Welcome to the Cam Shitcast podcast, or whatever we're calling this right now. I am your dear leader, Zach Lords. I'm going to get beaten by something when Mike gets back in here. But I am joined, as always, by the man who is not sitting right here, who is currently flipping the fries. I don't think that's an innuendo, but do you know what? I'm going to go with it. And then here on the table, we have Tommy Noel? Noy. I don't even know your fucking last name. And then reaching us from all the way from one of the Carolinas, I think it's south, we have Devin Creasy.
Yup, coming from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
And Mike is back here to take the reins back and fix what I just broke.
Dear leader Zach, huh?
Yeah. You got a problem with that? Want to come at me? Smooth.
Dear leader Zach, huh? No, on tonight's episode, we are going to have a man who owned a Ford, a man who jumped a Ford, a man who wants a Ford, and a man who works at Ford. Talking about no Ford-specific things.
I hate Fords.
Easy.
So, there we go. Hello, Devin. Hello, everybody. I have a boot.
I have a Dr. Pepper while wearing a Dr. Pepper shirt.
You're just on all sorts of brand.
Yeah, what are you in Fansville?
I didn't really plan that. I just went and got a soda, and I sat down and I saw myself in the camera and was like, oh, well, this looks like some sort of sponsorship here. So Dr. Pepper, you should send me some money.
Hey, Mike, I think you should go grab your Ham's cup.
Oh, I'm not. No, no. We're doing. I don't want to go upstairs.
Oh, is it upstairs?
Yeah, they're all upstairs. All my awesome schooners are upstairs.
No.
Yeah,
that's what I get for trying to be cool.
It's okay. It's okay. Next time we do this, we'll plan this out better.
What's planning?
Exactly. Something we don't do.
So, do you just want me to roll into what I got?
Yeah, please do. While
Okay.
I'm finding the thing.
I'm going to send it to you because you're literally right here.
I got it.
No, you're already going to get it. I'm going to watch it show up on your phone. Watch this. Ready. There it is. See, you see? I saw it.
Just ignore.
Mute.
Ignore.
So I had a hell of a weekend, and Tommy was part of this. I'm going to get to Tommy a bit here in like 2 seconds. But so I had to go do a wedding, and you know me, I do photos and videos, and I had to do an office-themed wedding video. Yeah, Devin's face says it all right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's the correct response there, buddy.
How the fuck do you make an office-themed wedding video? There's no conflict in a wedding.
So hang on, wait, like the show The Office, or they themed their wedding like
no, just the video. The video I am making for their wedding is supposed to be themed like an Office episode.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. The other argument I had here, which I talked to Mike about. So we're sitting at this place. It's a pretty cool venue. It's really old and kind of rustic. And they're talking like, oh, this place is so chic and cool and awesome. Like, when was it built? And like, oh, this place was built during the Cold War, and there's tunnels underneath it. And we're like, oh, cool. So like, what year was it built? 1920s.
Cold War in the 20s, huh?
Yeah, it took a lot for me to go. Actually, but
Actually,
actually, which I was proven wrong by our dear friend of the program, Brandon, that apparently the Romanov family was not in power in Russia in the 1920s. I thought they were, but I was wrong. The Alexanders were dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tsar Alexander and his family were shot in the basement.
Yep.
Long before that.
Some of them were shot in the basement. Some of them ran off. And the rest of their bodies were dumped down a mine shaft.
Well, listen.
And they have since found that mine shaft.
Oh, wonderful.
I know, right? So cool.
History. It's really gross a lot of times.
But this podcast is about cars. And me and Tommy, we did some badass shit, which actually I should probably just pull up the badass shit. So I can actually screen share it.
Yeah, you should probably do
I
that.
probably should. So, Tommy, do you want to talk about what we did?
Yeah, so we've got some really great sand dunes right outside of Salt Lake where we're based out of. And we went out there. It's called Little Sahara. And we got my new Raptor.
Into the mic.
Got my new Raptor.
There we go.
Yeah, 3 inches and move your head. It's like eating a taco. Just move your head around.
Sorry, I'm not used to doing that.
It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, like when you eat a taco, you don't move the taco around your head. You move your head around the taco.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, so anyways, we went out to Little Sahara, brought my new Raptor out there, and brought Zach's taco and got some good airtime with it.
So I'll just start sharing this stuff now because it is badass as shit. So, like, from my perspective, you invited me to this, I think, a week ago.
Yeah.
It was just like, hey, I'm gonna go to the dunes. Let's do this. And I'm like, cool. I'm all about this. Let's go do this. And I've never been to I've been to dunes before, but never. Oh God, what are you doing? What? No. What are you doing? No.
Oh dang, you're getting fancy with that video stuff, huh?
Yeah, look at him go.
You're not supposed to see this. This is behind the scenes, behind the curtain. Get rid of the extra shit too. God.
Man, you know how to use that program better than I do, and I've been messing with it for like 2 years.
No, it is intense stuff. Here we go.
Yeah, got some airtime in that taco.
The Tacoma. Okay, so like I'm sitting here, I'm feeling pretty proud of myself. I'm like, my Tacoma got front wheels probably 8 inches off the ground, the rear wheels probably 4 inches, and it felt hard. Like it did it. And then fucking Tommy's like, nah, bro, I got one up you.
Oh yeah, Zach sent me a photo of the Tacoma getting some air, and I'm just like, yeet, buddy. And then this.
So
I love seeing the sand come out of the subframe.
Yeah.
I'll give Tommy some credit here. With the math we have done, it was. I think I can show the video here. I don't. It might be so difficult to actually show it. No, I have it on the desktop. It's right here. Here's the slow mo of that jump. This is the first jump. He went a lot harder than the third one.
Look at him go. And touchdown.
Nice.
That's your rear end, by the way. You weren't fully maxed out.
No, the front on the third jump compressed all the way, but the back still had a little bit of room. But we've pretty much figured out that about 5 to 7 feet up in the air and about 80 to 90 feet of travel distance is going to max out a stock 2017 Raptor.
Yeah, we definitely got like 80-ish feet, and I somewhere between 4 and 6 feet of air. Like it was insane. And then I don't have the videos yet for that; they're still being edited. But he was going crazy up on these dunes and like just like all the crazy shit. And also like Tommy's like the savant of is savant the right word? We're gonna roll with it. Maybe this is sommelier. Sommelier? The wine guy, the guy that knows all about
sommelier.
Sommelier, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Sommelier
of the sand dunes, because we're out there, and he's got stuff for everything. He's explaining how all this shit works. He explains how the trucks handle and how the dirt bikes handle. Like we had a living legend out there with us. Like I think one thing I could have done better is get like Travis Pastrana out there.
Travis Pastrami?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was it Hurdy-gurdy?
Gurdy. Oh man, there's so many inside jokes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Tommy. This is like 3 years of inside jokes here. But so I wanted to get the Devin's impression of what he thinks of the Raptor, because you worked at Ford. You've driven a Raptor, right?
I have driven a Raptor. It's been a while. So I haven't been in a Raptor in a long time. So, but before the Raptor came out, like my family background is like off-road stuff. So like my brother had a pre-runner of all trucks, he had a pre-runner Chevy Colorado, the 5-cylinder. But we would jump that thing like 15, 20 feet in the air. It was awesome. And my dad has, I give Dave a hard time because we talk about rock crawling stuff. My dad had a Land Rover Defender 90 that was like lightly modified, but like when he was doing rock crawling competitions would just like destroy all these crazy built Jeeps out there. And he had like a body lift and some springs and shocks, and that was it. In this Land Rover Defender 90. But so I like the Raptor. I haven't driven them enough to, I think, have a fully formulated opinion. Me personally, I can't talk about my professional opinion because then Ford will get mad at me. But personally, I like them. They're great trucks. I think that they're fantastic for what they are. I do remember when they first came out, like there's a big snafu. I remember reading about it on all the forums of like people bending the frames. You guys remember that when the body, when the bed would, and so like everybody's freaking out, like, oh my gosh, Ford built these things so poorly and whatever. And I remember seeing that. And then I remember seeing on the forums, the responses that Ford made, because like Ford, like if you don't think OEMs monitor forums and Facebook pages, you're wrong. They monitor everything. So this was like at the end of the heyday of forums and coming into like Facebook stuff when everything is transitioning over to Facebook groups. But Ford went in and responded on these forum posts of like, hey, we went and we analyzed your vehicle and we took a look at the videos that you posted here. You're jumping your truck 20 feet in the air and like across like 100 feet and then down. Like,
you're going like full trophy truck send. So maybe that's a problem.
Yeah, they were bottoming out the suspension and the axle was hitting on the bump stops. And that was like causing the frame to bend because how hard it was smashing into it. And that's why the bed fit funny. And on half those vehicles, the airbags went off because of how hard they landed. So I just remember that and thinking that was really funny. Like, hey guys, this is a cool truck, but it's not a trophy truck. Right?
No, it's a really hotted up F-150. There's no reason you should be doing these things. And from listener George in Michigan, he wants to know how much you love the new Tundra. And he also wants you to go back to Michigan and work for Toyota.
Hi, George. Miss you, buddy. The new Tundra looks pretty sweet, actually.
It does.
Pretty cool. So you're talking about frame issues. I had a real big fear of me jumping my Tacoma was I was going to take my taco up that jump, and then it was going to turn into a taco. I've seen enough videos of people doing this and this in ways they should have never been done.
You had some good sound when you landed on that.
Did I?
Oh yeah, I could hear it from 100 yards out.
Well, so mine was like I went up a I don't know 35 degree maybe 40.
Yeah, it was probably it was close to 45.
40, yeah. And
where I would have jumped with the Raptor would have been, if you can see in that picture, is about 25 feet higher up. And that would have sent the Raptor way up in the air. But the problem with that is past 45 degrees on that, but you can see the landing, like you're going to land in flat.
Yeah. And that's what hurts. That's what really does damage is landing in the flat.
Yeah. Like where we were jumping the Raptor is perfect because it was just a perfect roller. Yeah. And by the third one, I had dialed in right where we're landing right there at the sweet spot of that area. But that first knuckle we were looking at that you jumped to lower would have done some good damage.
I want to see if I can find a good photo of.
See, I love seeing stuff like this because I've never actually gone out to the dunes, but like, I don't know, like 2 years ago or something, my brother bought one of the Can-Am side-by-sides, the Maverick Turbo. So he's got one of those, right? And then my dad was like, wow, this is really cool. And he goes and buys like an LS Sandrail. So it's got the crazy like 8-to-1 exhaust that comes up over top. It's super cool.
Ooh, that is tight.
And so my family's in Arizona. My dad keeps bugging me like, hey, you need to come out and visit so we can go to the dunes. I'm like, that'd be sweet, Dad. But, that's a whole day of travel with a 2-year-old. That's not going to be very fun.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a good indication of where we jump. So Tommy was going to want to jump. That's a little too zoomed in.
Yeah, right where those other tracks were.
Yeah, right here.
Side by side, hit it right before you had got up there.
And I jumped right about here-ish. Maybe here.
Yeah.
Actually, those might be my first jump marks. Is right there.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, I think those are old.
Yeah. So.
But what the camera doesn't show right there is on the landing area, past that lip, that area is also 45 degrees canted down towards where the cameraman was.
Cool.
So you're going to be landing flat and sideways.
Oh man,
off camber. So
that's fun.
Well,
yeah.
of course, I don't know any of this shit. So I'm like, hey, Tommy, I want to hit the truck. And he's like, yeah, go right there and jump right here. Go up about 40 feet up there and jump it. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good spot for where you were at, but if you go up higher and with that lip, you would have just been shooting to the moon.
To the moon.
You can kind of see. Here's a better photo of that area. Let me brighten up a little so you can actually see it. Can you see that, Devin? Pretty good.
Yeah.
So I think I end up jumping right about here.
Yeah, and it's still pretty flat there. I mean, right past where you go, it kicks up.
Yeah. Actually, I think this my first pass was right here.
Yeah.
Where I really pussied out and didn't go all
It got
the way.
like one. There was like one wheel off.
Hey, do you know what? Okay.
But you know what? I was impressed. I was happy with what you were doing.
Okay. So
And you're banging around on a 5-speed in the dunes.
So I'm going to show this to you because you haven't seen this yet. Everyone here has seen this, I think.
Well, we'll find out, won't we?
God damn it! Open new window, Facebook. But yeah, so Tommy, you've now owned the Raptor for how long?
About a month.
A month. So like impressions, like walk us through like your review of this car.
I mean, I can't. So first thing that is instantly like as soon as I bought it, I knew I was changing it. Which I can't really fault it for. But the guy before me, I can tell he didn't really do Raptor things with it. But I think he put on some mud tires to just look because it looks cool. But that thing rides so bumpy on a low speed. Yeah, I mean, those tires are great when you're bogging through deep mud, trying to get traction, which
they're so
in
loud
Utah,
too.
you really don't have mud because up in the mountains, it's so rocky. Yes. Even in the dirt, like the water washes away. It never has time to actually turn to mud. And then you're in the dunes and then you're in Moab. So you really never need a mud terrain tire in out here. And that's one of the more aggressive ones. And it's not even like a Nitto where Nittos are hard compound like this Discovery, but at least each treads the same. So it's completely flat until you get into the grooves. Whereas this one, it's got weird squares that are just all canted at different angles.
They look like they wore really weird because of the pattern they have.
You're right. Yeah. It looks like it could have been just worn weird. But so it's a hard compound. So it's already going to make noise and rattle. And then you got these off camber squares and triangles that are just hitting every which way on the ground. So from 0 to 20 in that thing, it's just rattling the shit out of the cabin. And then it hums really loud going down the highway. 80 is the sweet spot for that truck. I've noticed anyways. The pedal feels great right there. And it doesn't feel like you're going 80 in that thing. It's so smooth. And that's when the tires actually start to calm down too. So I'm going to switch out those, get some Mickey Thompson ATZs, Bajas. They're really good. But overall, I mean, I've always liked the Raptor. I didn't like the look of the Gen 1 nearly as much, but I fell in love with Gen 2. And it's kind of been, as far as non-sports cars, it's been one of my dream cars.
Did you put the bullet antenna on it?
I did. I actually put it on.
I was so hoping that was previous owner.
No, I put it on this morning. The morning we went there.
Really?
Because that thing, the one that was on it, and it would have been like our flagpole on the back at the dunes. Like that thing already going down the highway is waving back and forth. So I had that on my Wrangler.
Get one of the little stubby ones.
Yeah, I mean, I could have done the stubby of the same, like the same brand makes it, but I like guns. I was in the military, so fuck it. I want the 50 cal bullet on it.
Fair enough. Okay, so I want to show this to you guys. This is my last previous big jump. I told you about on the dunes, which was my Subaru. Devin, have you seen my Subaru jump before?
Yeah, I remember seeing pictures or videos of it somewhere. Yeah,
I have posted all over Facebook every year. It comes up because it's just such a blast. It's down here. I'll actually. That's the Subaru I still have. So what do you think, Tommy? Do you think I did better?
I think the taco looked better flying.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
And also that's also was Dave's fault as well too, where he was like, "Oh, I could jump my Subaru," and he fucking like just kills it. Like it's such a bad jump, and then I'm like, "Well, my Subaru can do that too."
It looks like you're out by the racetrack.
Yeah, we are. We're on the same area. We're out at the Proving Grounds.
Okay.
Which I don't think we can go to anymore. I think they're all closed off. But
I was wondering if that was at an event because the cool thing about the racetrack out where we have is you have a dirt track inside the other racetrack.
Yeah,
which is pretty sick.
We knew a guy here, Cole. What was Cole's last name? Powelson. Thanks, Mike. Powelson. And he owns a company called Life Motorsports, and they build some crazy shit. And he rented a piece of property out, literally maybe 10 minutes from the racetrack, maybe 5.
Oh, sweet.
And they cut a rally course into it. It's like that. I got videos and shit of my cars doing rally shit out there. It's a lot of fun.
Nice.
But they got rid of it, and they actually did the Crown Vic rally. So the Hoonigans came out, and they all bought Crown Vics, and they went and rallied. So I got to meet some of the Hoonigans, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, but as far as the first month, I love it.
You do?
I mean, yeah, the suspension's so nice. It rides really well on road. It's really fun off road. I mean, you could be going down the highway at 80 and just pull off the highway, and it just takes it like a champ. And honestly, I'm in it all day long for work, so it's a great spot to just sit in all day because there's a lot of space, and it just rides so smooth.
That's nice.
So really happy with it for everything. I mean, I've always seen the Raptor as like you get a sports car, truck, and side by side all in one. And I'm not saying it's as good as a sports car on road by any means, but it's a great.
It's a sports truck.
As far as being a trio, it nails all three.
Actually, they're great trucks. Like for something that hits all three of those points, that does pretty well. Like normally when you I feel like most vehicles, when you build it to try and do several things like that, it ends up being mediocre at best at all of them. But
yeah,
I feel like the Raptor. I mean, the Raptor's not the only truck to do it, but I feel like the Raptor was one of the first trucks to do that, to check all the boxes.
Yeah.
I think in recent times it's been the first that's really like set the precedence for all the others. Like, I mean, like you got the TRX out now. That's a badass truck. And I mean, you can argue if Dodge would have done that, if Ford wouldn't have already done this Raptors for the past, 10?
Did they make it since I think 20? Devin would know. Devin, when the Raptor come out?
Yeah, I don't know when the first gen started. It was I think
you
it was.
Work for them.
Just because I work for them doesn't mean I know everything about every vehicle made. I mean, people knew.
I want to say it was around like 06 to 2010, somewhere in that era.
I want to know the exact power output of the 98 Taurus right now, Devin. Right now, come on.
At this day and age, it probably makes about 80 horsepower if you find one. But
Devin, I'm about ready to.
I don't know what they made when they were new. Sorry.
I'm about ready to remove you because you are not the expert on Fords anymore. That's why we brought you here.
So, are you at the facility where, like near where they took all the race schools?
No. So what I do for work is like I'm a rep for dealers. I'm a service rep. So anything related to making sure they know how to fix cars or making sure they can fix cars, that's kind of like that's in my realm of responsibilities. So
okay, sweet.
I had something else I was talking about. Ooh, God damn it, Mike. Nice. Yeah, put it behind the Mac so I can't reach it.
And so I can sit here and stare at them and just wish I was there to eat those with you.
Yep.
I thought I was going to go with all this. Oh, okay. Now that we have all of us here, I have a question that has been posed. I thought you were just going to set it on top of the Mac.
Just pick up the Mac and throw it across the room.
We don't need it anymore. It's not like part of my livelihood. So this has been a question that's been argued in our friend group quite a bit recently. And our friend group, is very.
God,
we have Ryan in it. We need to get Ryan on this podcast. I vote Ryan's on the podcast next.
No, next week we have confirmed Crystal Martinez, one of my coworkers. She just did her first SEMA trip.
Okay.
She worked the IE booth, and then I'm going to see if we can get Miles Schaefer on, who is a brilliant child. And when I say child, he's younger than you, Zach.
I think he's 21. fun.
It's something like that. But yeah, he unicycles and he snuck into SEMA and got kicked out.
Dude, we snuck into SEMA. So I went to Weber, right? And we'd take trips down there. Half of us would get passes through the school. The other, then we would sneak in the other half the people we brought with us into SEMA. We never got anybody kicked out. How did Miles get kicked out? I'm really interested to hear the story.
Yeah, so he's going to come on next week, and it's going to be a perfect opportunity for me to share my decade of SEMA stories.
Yeah.
So
I want to hear those. But
anyway,
at some point we need Ryan because I think Ryan would be a blast on this podcast.
Okay.
But Ryan argued with me when I called my BMW a sports car.
The one you have now.
Yes.
The one that's been smashed.
Yes. Do you want to point out more facts right now, Mike?
Your truck also needs work.
Fuck off. Fuck off. I will end this shit. I will remove the laptop from the room. What are you going to do? Log into Trent's account by yourself?
I can't even do that.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I'm really playing with fire right now.
You also live in my fucking house.
Yeah, I do.
Condo,
Townhouse.
apartment. So I called it a sports car. And Ryan got pissed. Because I also called I called my Subaru. Devin, you know about my Subaru, right?
Which Subaru?
My flat 6 manual rear-wheel drive Subaru.
Yeah.
I called that a sports car. Sorry, not BMW. I called the Subaru a sports car.
Okay.
Because it is a rear-wheel drive manual car.
It's not a sports car.
So what is a sports car?
But it makes cool noises. It makes some pretty epic noises for being a Subaru.
So,
Well, I mean, some of the those epic noises it's not supposed to make. They're bad noises,
Well,
the
no.
flat 6 sounds are
Well, listen.
orgasmic.
Yeah, listen. Piston hitting valve, that's not a great noise. But the wail of the flat 6 is insane to hear it coming from that damn thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So as a group, what is the CAM's definition? Because we're going to put this down today. The CAM's definition of a sports car, and I'm not going to add to it because I'm biased. Because I think the Subaru is a sports car, and it is clearly not. What makes the Subaru not a sports car?
I mean, let's see.
Devin, you seem pretty adamant about not being a sports car.
I am. I
What model is it?
The Subaru Legacy.
It's a legacy
yeah.
wagon. So, I mean,
yeah.
So-
It's a wagon, so it's not a sports car.
yeah.
If
I
anything,
mean,
it'd be a sports wagon.
it
Mhm.
was a family wagon that
I've molested several levels from hell.
like through sheer triumph of ignorance, you have turned it in to something sporty, but it is not a sports car because it was never designed or intended to be doing the things you wanted it to do.
So in my mind, I define something as a car. A car is 4 wheels and it's not a truck or a van.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends if you're gonna go like hard and fast by the like old school definition of it, really.
So okay, so Devin,
I mean, most
Yeah.
what people would consider like, what anybody that's not into cars, like if they see a Ferrari or something, they're always gonna say like, oh, look at that sports car, like, or anywhere from that to like an M3 or an M2,
Yeah.
like anything. But it's just been such a muddy definition, I feel like. So if you're gonna
Well, and even like from a racing standpoint, like people talk about sports car racing,
yeah,
it's pretty much anything that isn't Formula One and that isn't like front wheel drive based touring cars. So like technically like the weird prototypes fall under sports car racing. So it's like, okay, we're getting real weird with it.
yeah.
so I'll do this. I'll start with Devin.
Yeah.
Describe to you when you close your eyes,
Mm-hmm.
you tune out my dumbass voice,
Yep.
and I say the word sports car. Will you paint that picture for me with words?
So when I think of a sports car, I think of either typically a 2-door, sometimes a 4-door, never a wagon, because that would be a sports wagon, right? All-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive, a car that was built with the intention of performance, right? So it's meant from the factory. It handles well at relatively high speeds,
You'll get your chance in a fucking minute. Put your goddamn hand down.
And depending on the type of sporting car, I mean, it could, when I think of a sports car, I think of something that also handles well in the corners, but I know that's not always the case. I mean, muscle cars, are they really a sports car? Most muscle cars don't handle well. So there are some nuances there, but the general gist of it is something that can handle relatively, higher speeds, decent, looks sporting, and is a 2-door or 4-door when we talk about a sports car.
Okay, God.
Two things.
What?
We should name this episode "What is a Car?"
What is a car?
What is car?
What is car?
Yeah.
Which means I tried typing "What is a car?" and typed in "What's car?" And number two, Devin, by your own admission, your 86 is not a sports car because it does not look like a sports car, and it was not designed by the factory to be a sports car.
That is debatable. I would agree that it is an Econobox. However, the AE86 has a racing pedigree. It has a racing history.
Does
the
it?
Toyota
It
Corolla
does.
11 or Torino has a rally history.
Yeah.
So if you look at its pedigree and you look at Corollas or Torino and 11 from previous generations, it is a world record-setting rally car. So there's actually, I don't have it, but there's actually
My legacy is sorry, I'm cutting off. But my legacy is a car, is a race car too, because it has racing pedigree.
I mean, the generation before was Subaru's test bed for World Rally, and then they went to the Impreza.
Yeah, so that's where yours doesn't carry the pedigree because the rally pedigree moved to the Impreza. It didn't stay with the legacy line.
Yeah,
And-
yours is your legacy is the weird older cousin who got jealous of you're the younger cousin who got jealous of the weird older cousin who had one fluky year in college and got drafted. So you just locked yourself in the basement gym, wood panels, and just did a bunch of roids.
Yeah.
And then you came out and you're just like, fuck the world. And everybody's like, cool.
Now, Zach, you also got to remember the A86 had specific race classes. It had spec 86 races, the N2 races that has that, but you don't have that with your Now, don't get me wrong. I like those legacies. I had one. I loved it, but I would not consider it a sporty vehicle.
No. Again,
Okay, so next question is sorry, Mike.
Okay.
Can you turn a non-sports car into a sports car, or is it a birth given right?
I think it's a modding out of class.
It's being a sports car is a birthright. It is something
So
you have to
can
be kind of born with.
So I could not take a Panther body, throw it on throw some Cobra suspension on there, throw a blower on it, and call it a sports car.
No.
But the M5 is.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because and this is where I think
This is
go-
way better than politics.
this,
I love
this is where I
discussion.
think you go from if you want to go with the traditional way old school definition of what a sports car was, because I believe what the old school definition actually was in the beginning was rear wheel drive, 2 seats, and a manual. So you're at this point now we've broken it into so many different things. Like you brought up, what I believe you said one of the muscle cars.
Yeah.
Is that a pony car or is it just a muscle car now? We've broken it into all the cars into so many different sub graphics of that.
Yeah.
And now I
Now-
feel like you have it's
What you're referring to with the
performance
manual rear-wheel drive 2-door seating is a touring car or a grand touring car, not necessarily a sports car.
But that could also, I think that was the original old school definition, and then now they broke it into other things down the road, because that could also now be broken out to, you said Grand Touring, but it could also just be a roadster.
Well, roadster is a form of a touring car.
So
Yeah.
I would call most touring cars sports cars, but not every sports car is a touring car.
Well,
Yes,
we have to
agreed.
we could also split this hair. So there are grand touring cars, like the GT cars,
Yeah.
which, the FIA has definite definitions of what a GT car is and what a touring car is. So a Civic
sure.
Type R, touring car, Ferrari 488, GT car.
Yeah.
So even though I would not want to take a 488 on anything remotely close to a grand tour.
Yeah.
let's go back to like the true heritage of some of these names. And for me, the single vehicle that I can think of right now that carries that same name for all of its lines is the 250 Ferrari, where you end up with the GTO, which was the homologation of the sports car.
Mhm.
It came off the race car, so it became no longer race. It is now sport because it's not being raced anymore. And then you got like the California, which is now your Spider or what you had another term for it.
Roadster.
Roadster. There's your Roadster, and then you get like the GT4 or not GT4, the Lusso, the 255 Lusso, which is now the nice interior, which is now your touring car. Which again, I would not want to take a 250 anywhere remotely close to a Grand Tour.
No, some of these like old school touring cars are fucking nightmares. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to try to get one of those things out of a parking lot, let alone across the state.
I would love to take an Espada on a Grand Tour.
Oh my god.
Now,
Try
something
to-
also to consider about what a Grand Tour or touring car is you got to think about the type of trips that people were making back in the day. Right?
Yes.
Right.
So traveling around one state in the U.S. is like the equivalent of traveling through like 3 countries in Europe. So
Yeah, 100%.
touring really, well, it wasn't what we think of today when we think of a touring car. So
No.
Well,
Yeah.
and at the same time, like the sports car definition, if it was made back in the 40s or 30s, everything that we just said about something being a roadster, like that was the definition of a sports car because you had nothing else to really compare it to. Like you couldn't say, well, no, it's not a sports car, it's a muscle car. Like you're literally dealing with a bland, Model T up until the 1940s when they're all just boats. Or you have a roadster.
I would confidently say that these. Sorry, Devin. That
go ahead.
This naming scheme originates in the early '60s.
you
Because
think the early 60s? When? Okay, let's take guesses. I've got it up on Google when the first sports car or the first considered sports car was and what it was.
I think
So
I'm guessing SL or maybe DB3.
okay,
No.
I think the 1930s.
1930s.
What car?
Yeah.
What year?
What year era?
What year?
year?
Okay,
Yeah.
mid 40s.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a pre-war term. So, yeah, like 20s, 30s, somewhere in there.
I'm guessing mid 40s. What do you got, Devin, for us?
All right, so what is considered the very first true sports car is a 1914 Vauxhall Prince Henry Sports Torpedo.
The
Now-
sports torpedo?
Yeah,
I'm logging off. I'm out. I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
God, that is a wild name.
right. And okay, so to give more context to this, it looks like I was wrong in thinking that a 2-door was referring to a touring vehicle or a roadster. So when we look at the definition of sports car and the history of it, so the things that were the consideration of like what's the true definition of a sports car, or what was the true definition currently in the dictionary is a low, small, usually two-passenger automobile designed for quick response, easy maneuverability, and high-speed driving. But if we look at where did the sports car term come from, the original definition got that name because they evoked images of or borrowed design and engineering concepts from dedicated racing cars.
Which I touched on that earlier with
Yeah.
the 250 GTO being
Mhm.
Yeah, you talked
sports, yeah.
you talked homologation specials, which I mean, yeah.
And if you think about it, like most of like the classic sports cars from Europe did do that. If you think about like the Astons, the Ferraris, okay, Lamborghini was fucking on
No.
crack all that entire time.
Lamborghini was a lot of it was a coked out like fever dream of Lamborghini. That is the Lamborghini story.
I think the first Lamborghini to race was the Diablo GT.
Probably.
I think that's the first like official race car they built.
Yeah.
But the
GT1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
uh,
God.
Porsche. Same thing with Porsche. They were building race cars, and then they started building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give some more context to the history of this. It seems like we have some more right answers in the origin of the sports car term. So the
Absurd.
earliest,
with Prince Henry Sports Torpedo.
right? Yeah. So
That was short.
the earliest recorded usage of sports car was in the Times in the UK in 1919. but the first known use of it in the U.S. is in 1928.
Okay.
So, yeah, the right there between 1919 up to 1930s is about the right era for coining the term.
All right.
And see, now I think you have markets where you can break that into subcategories now under sports cars. Because BMW has made their business model off of making a specific version of a coupe or a sedan into a sports car, but you could call it a sports sedan if you want to get really into it.
Really pedantic about it.
And then you could say like, okay, well, a Mustang's not a sports car; it's a pony car, or a muscle car. Like you could break it down into further tiers now, just because we have more variety of cars than were back then.
Because I think if we keep we could subcategorize every car into its own niche at this point too.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think once we get into like the doldrums of winter when nothing is going on, I feel we need to get like 3 more people in this room and 1 more person on the TV and just do like a live stream. Well, a more promoted live stream than what we're doing right now.
Do you make a pyramid, a chart that shows where everything lies out on the...
No, sorry. I have a really good idea. Please tell your idea, and I'll come back to my idea.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it was just going to be one of those, just like, at this point, we just need to, like, pick cars and just be like, is this a sports car or not? And just, like, drop it on the table and just be like, sports car or no, and then go around the room, debate, and then slap it up on the wall of sports cars.
Okay, to expand on that idea, we need to talk very much after this because the ideas just started flowing.
Okay.
Tier list. We use, because I know this on the internet, random car generator.
Yeah.
We pulled out like 40 of them of just random cars, and we built a fucking tier list.
Can do.
That would be great.
We'll move the Ferrari. We'll put up like something there so we can just like start slapping stuff.
Yeah. Ford Mondeo, S tier.
For God tier.
God tier.
That's some galaxy brain shit right there.
The fucking, what is it? The fucking, what James may love?
The Dacia Sandero.
Dacia Sandero.
The Dacia Sandero.
Icebox.
Yes, put it in the box.
Our name is fucking need us. I'll go apologize to Gene and Tracy tomorrow.
Yeah, please do. But yeah, man. No, I think that's kind of where we're gonna end up with this old sports car thing.
Because we could sit here for a couple hours and think of
and we already talked about this for a long time, and there's still so much more to go on the topic.
Yeah, and Tommy keeps bringing up a great point. It's just like, like this thing is like fragmented. It's no longer just, like 4 or 5 categories of car.
If you think about it,
now it's just like,
but honestly, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, somebody will create a niche and then fill it with something of their own design.
Now, does it matter if you could have somebody argue back and forth all day at a Cars and Coffee or something about like, well, you called it wrong. That's not a sports car. That's a sports sedan or whatever. But like, does it really matter?
No, it does not.
But I think at the end of the day, was that car or trim model designed for a specific performance purpose? Like you take a Fiesta, for example. Fiesta normally, hell no.
Those 185.
But there is no reason. There's no reason for a Ford Fiesta ST to exist other than to hoon it around and have a good time.
Yes. That was the exact purpose. Yep. The Fiesta.
Yep. Focus, look at a Raptor. There's no reason to have a Raptor.
There's no reason for that to exist.
It hauls less than a normal freaking Wrangler.
Why the fuck does Mercedes put a 63 in all their SUVs?
Yeah. I mean, it is
65 at that point too.
It is insane. Like,
but no, something I want to touch back on a little bit. Just go back a quarter second was like in the 60s, if you bought a car from a different location on the planet, you knew what you're buying. I bought a British car. You bought a sports car.
Yes.
If you bought a European car, you bought a GT car.
Yeah.
You bought a Asian car. You bought a.
You are a communist. Why do you hate America, Steve?
That brings up an interesting point too, though. With like
the last one was like, you buy an American car, you have a muscle or a pony car.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. Was it a muscle or a pony car, or was it a tank that you could hit anything and just
also
good old American steel?
Fucking A, baby.
Get your El Dorado wet dreams out of here.
Oh man.
No,
Oh,
that
sorry.
brings up
Somebody
a-
was going somewhere with something. I totally cut them
So-
off.
Something about the
yeah.
Japanese car thing.
Well, even going off of that with different countries of like what car, you get a
yeah.
specific car. I mean, you have people today too where they're saying, no, I only support America, so I'll only buy like Ford, Chevy, Dodge, or Jeep, or something like that. It's like, well, I'm originally from Cincinnati, and like up in northern Ohio, there's huge Toyota plants.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
you have like
Mercedes builds, I think, most of their base model stuff in the
Yeah.
US too.
Yeah, in I think Alabama.
My
Yeah.
fucking truck is
well,
built in
and
Bowling
it's like
Greens.
okay, so what defines it as being like what brand?
Yeah, like it's
Is it because it originated in that country, that brand started there?
yeah.
Or does it matter where the factories are and the cars are being built? Does it matter where, like, who owns them now?
Yeah.
Like, was back like around the economy when back in like 09 when Ford liquidated Land Rover?
Yeah.
Was Land Rover before that a
Was it
American?
product?
Yeah,
then?
but they're
Like,
not fucking Indian. They're
Yeah.
owned by
Yeah.
Tata.
It's yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
And then,
it's
like-
really funny is like when you talk to people. So like I lived in Michigan for 3 years, worked up there, and a lot of the people I worked with or were friends with work for the big three, and they're very American made, especially in Michigan. People get really like Michigan made proud or like Detroit made proud, but everything American. And so when you talk to them as like I drive to work, working for Ford in my turbo MR2, they're like, get that Japanese piece of crap out of here. And I'm like, why? Like, what makes it worse than an American car? And they're like, oh, we got to support the American economy. And I'm like, well, the most American car right now at that time was a Toyota Camry because over 75% of the parts in the vehicle were manufactured or designed or designed by an American engineering company. And they're like, oh, but all the money goes back to Japan. I'm like, it's Toyota Motors USA. The money stays right here in the US. What are you talking about? And it just really upset people.
On that same note, too, I was thinking about like my car lineup because I've owned a lot of cars. I think the only two cars I've owned, maybe three, that I've owned that have not been produced in the US are my BMW,
Mhm.
my MR2, and maybe my AE91. I don't know if those were produced in the US or not. I don't think they were.
I don't think so. I'm not sure.
I don't
though.
know. I don't know.
Yeah,
The
that's
AW11
kinda right
was
there.
AW11 was 100% built in Japan.
Yeah.
But and then I think my Forerunner may have been produced overseas. Because
No.
what year was it?
Forerunner has to be made in the U.S. Oh, actually, no. Forerunner might have been made overseas, but the Forerunner is on a truck platform, so you'd think that it would be made in the U.S.
But it had 4 seats, so it passed the chicken tax.
Yeah,
And it was a
yeah.
91, so it may have been Japanese produced. But my
yeah.
my truck, Bowling Greens, my Subaru, either Mexico or somewhere else. Actually no, my Ranger wasn't produced in the U.S. It was produced in Canada.
Yeah.
We got George chiming in, Mr. Toyota. He works for Toyota. It says A91 was Japan production. All Forerunners were built in Japan. So, cool. I was sitting there. I was sitting here thinking that because the 91, the first gen Forerunners were built on the same platform as the Tacoma, so the Tacoma had to be made. Well, the Toyota truck back then, what had to be made in the U.S. So I thought that maybe the Forerunner would be made in the U.S. at the same plant because of the same.
Yeah, it's the same thing. But
yeah.
it might be cheaper to build them in Japan because they don't have to worry about chicken tax. And
Yeah.
so they ship them.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Who's this guy in the chat?
It's George.
George.
Georgia.
Where's my 03 Tacoma build? Is it Bowling Greens or is it somewhere else?
While we wait for
Yeah.
George to look that one up.
George might know stuff like that. So it's fun. So George, I guess to give listeners and people more context, George. So it's funny when I was living in Utah, I was working at Despain at a Subaru shop, and George was one of the co-owners of Zip Tie Dyno Works. And then
is that George?
Yeah, that's George.
yeah, it's that George. And then
George, I used to work for Rob. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that out loud. But I used to work for Rob.
Yeah, so he then took a job with Toyota, and I don't know, he sold Zip Tie or it got transitioned to Simple. But anyway, there's some transition thing, but yeah, George actually helped me build my Corolla. He hooked me up on a bunch of parts because after I moved to Michigan and met, we didn't really hang out in Utah. I met him like once or something. Actually, the first time I met George was at SEMA. And he was like, "Oh, hey, we're opening a dyno shop in Utah." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." And then
Yeah.
he says, "Shots fired." I'm assuming that was about Rob, but or about the Subaru shops. I don't know. But anyway, so then we moved to Michigan, and we start hanging out, and then we started talking about like nightmare customers. Every shop has customers that are high maintenance, and so we were talking about, oh yeah, they took your car from your shop, brought it to my shop, we fixed it, and then it got towed to this other shop, and so we were telling war stories about these customers that we were like, oh my gosh.
So, did George own the dyno?
Well, he was.
I can't remember who owned it. I remember Rob claiming he owned the dyno, and then I did some research, and he absolutely did not own the dyno.
Yeah, no, I don't remember.
There's a lot of gray area with that, and a lot of that kind of.
I think the dyno's over at ER shop now.
So it might be.
Yeah,
does ER have a Mustang?
Yeah, I think it's the Mustang dyno now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that might be the old zip tie dyno.
I think it is.
I remember because I remember they had an all-wheel drive Mustang.
Yeah.
Well, Zip tie dyno merged, or Zip tie dyno works merged with Simple Performance. So Ryan Kitchens, I think, was the Zip tie tuner, and now he's the Simple Performance tuner. And so I think that the dyno should be at Simple. If Simple Performance has a dyno, I think it's the Zip tie dyno.
Yeah, the dyno's at Simple.
Yeah, look, I was right. Yeah.
There we go.
Do you know who I hang out with pretty regularly, Devin?
Who?
I'm gonna forget his fucking name right now.
You hang out with him regularly, but you forget his name.
Yeah.
Give me 4 fucking seconds. Mark Bremer.
Mark Bremer. That name sounds really familiar.
What's his name in the chat? I'm losing all the names.
George
should know Mark Bremer. He worked at Phantom. His dad owns Transition City. Yeah. I probably went too far out. Okay, never mind.
Well, yeah, thanks for the turd in the punch bowl.
That's fine. Well, so God damn it, it's Jackson.
Well, whatever.
Mike, do you have anything for us?
Jackson, get your boat anchor out of the garage, or else we're going to turn it into a boat anchor.
I want to clean up and make it into a coffee table.
Either or.
Big dope ass coffee table.
I mean, yeah.
What is it?
I have a VG30 block, VG30 TT block, because it has the oil squirters in it.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
It was a conflict of interest to work at Toyota and have a shop, so that's why.
Yeah, OEMs get real touchy with stuff like that. Like for me to have Doctored Garage, I was going to start selling performance parts, and then I was going to sell them for all non-Ford applications. I mean, I work on 8.6s. 8.6 is what I was going to sell parts for. And I tried to submit a conflict of interest stuff, and it just got to be too much of a headache to try and work with that. That it was like, nah, I'm not even gonna. It gets real complicated. Yeah. I remember George and I talked about that, the conflict of interest of him having a shop and working for Toyota. And me and George used to hang out. It'd be like 9:00 or something. It was before I was married, before George was dating anybody or something. And I drive out to Ann Arbor and hang out with the car group there. And because I was in Taylor, it's about 45 minutes from Ann Arbor. So I drive out, hang out with the car group. And then I remember the first time hanging out with George, we went to a Steak and Shake and sat there for 2 hours. And George just ate a crap load of food. I remember he ordered 2 burgers, a hot dog, 3 things of fries or something. We just, yeah, and then I drive. We go get sliders and stuff. There's a really good slider restaurant in Ann Arbor, so we go drive. I go drive out there and hang out late at night and go get sliders and stuff.
Jesus,
nice.
George and I have lots of mutual friends. I just found you on Facebook, by the way.
Yeah,
that kind of
yeah. No, George is good people.
George is really good people.
That's by his friends list. He's good people.
Mm-hmm.
George, I still hang out with Rob Smith all the time.
Good. No. Oh, George.
George, you're not. George, you lost a bunch of weight from when I first met you, and you weren't even fat then. You were just a little. I don't know what the right word is. A little soft. I'm a little soft. Look at
it was like proto dad bod.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, just add the wrong fucking George.
Hey, so what about this Formula Drift coming to UMC?
That's going to be real fun, and I'm pretty sure I know exactly which 3 or 4 turds they're going to use. Yeah.
I didn't know anything about the GT Live stuff, so that was before my time in drifting. That was
Dude, I have photos from like the first GT Live of Brandon in the red coupe when he had his fucking red coupe.
Jesus, that's old.
Yeah, that's fucking ancient.
So it was interesting. So like in all the threads and all the different drift groups, like people. So the guys that do grassroots stuff at Lake Erie are upset.
They're so pissed.
They're so upset. But I mean, I'll be honest. It was boring. There's like you only need one circle track in FD because there's only so much you can do with the circle track.
Yeah.
So and they
yeah.
had like 4 last year, so I wasn't surprised to see it drop off.
Yeah.
I was really surprised to see UMC drop. So like I was really excited to see UMC on there. I think that's going to be awesome. And, and Jordan Collier from, Salt City Drift has talked, big things are happening next year, and then you see that and it's really exciting. And then Wicknick talks about hey, I wonder if they use the GT Live layout and then he tells like the story of like, he went out there to go drive. He like ended up like winning 9th and they invited him to go out to go get a Formula D license, and he was like, "What's that?"
Yeah, they invited him down to Vegas to like compete for an FD license. He's like, "What?"
Yeah,
dude, that was.
And then he got his FD license out of that. It was pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, and then one year he went to Long Beach and he bent like 3 rods.
Yeah,
dude, when is it coming to UMC?
September. Yeah,
I think 16th and 17th or something like that.
Okay, so next year.
Yeah, next year.
Yeah,
oh yeah, you need to come out for this. You, George, like we're gonna get the crew together in this room. We're gonna share old stories.
George says he's come back to Utah for the FD event, so I'm actually fantastic, George. Then finally you can ride along in a Beams 8.6 and you can see what yours should feel like if you ever finish it.
Can I get photos and videos of it for you?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So I'm planning on. I'm trying to work out the details of towing the drift car out there.
I went to Tacoma.
And yeah,
stop offering the Tacoma. Tacoma is gonna die.
Did you see those photos, Devin?
What?
Did you see the, okay, I'm gonna send you some photos on Messenger.
Oh God.
Right. So it's a 3-day drive from me to Utah. So I just have to plan it out so I can get out there and still, I can work remotely. So as long as I can I got to figure out my travel days and everything, get out there. Because Jordan is talking about doing some sort of drift event either than the same weekend or the weekend before or after or something. It's like one of the coolest things about Formula Drift in Atlanta is that, so FD Road Atlanta, they don't do events like the way the FD has at least I've heard the way the FD has their contract with Road Atlanta is that they can't run the Formula D layout for however many months before or after the event. But the day after Formula D on Sunday across the street at Lanier, a drift organization runs a grassroots day, so they've got like a bros and pros event that everybody just goes out there and has a good time.
Dude, that's rad.
I've got my fingers crossed that Jordan's going to get something worked out at UMC to be able to do something like that, either the same weekend or a weekend before or after, because I want to come out there. I want to spectate at Formula D, and I want to drive while I'm out there because last year I rented Brandon Wicknick's IS300, which was fun. But it wasn't my car, so I really sucked. And I want to come back out and drive the track that got started me in drifting with my car. So
hell yeah, man! No, that would be rad. I got to figure out. We got to put the website back together so we can get actually credentialed for it.
I had some ideas for that as well too. But
okay,
I've had lots of ideas. Actually, thanks to Tommy. Tommy, fuck you for making me think about things.
How dare you, Tommy?
How dare me?
The smoke's coming out of his ears.
But again, it's one of those things where it's like I have all these great ideas and then 0 time and energy to actually do any of them.
Well, I mean, some of the stuff I definitely want to get the website back up because I need a venue because I have stuff I want to talk about that I can't stick on the cooking website or the nerd website, and Facebook is just nothing's going to go well there.
Yeah, so, my business Facebook page, I have 6 likes on it.
Yeah.
And I've shared it to everybody. I have 500 contacts. And I got 6 likes out of it. I paid for 2 ads and got 1 like out of each ad.
Yeah. I've been I have a website for Doctored Garage where I put, technical Toyota stuff. I have 3 drafts for articles or things I need to post, but I haven't posted them. They've been sitting in drafts for a year because I find that more people would rather watch YouTube videos than go to my website.
Yeah, that's very true. But as coming from you need a website to get credentialed, or you need to have like a big YouTube or Instagram following to be able to get into stuff.
We do have a big YouTube following now.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, like when I say
2,500,
we need to add another 0 to that.
How many YouTube subscribers do you have?
it's like 23 or 25.
That's really good.
Yeah,
So,
that's
like-
really, that's really good, but yeah.
Well, when I started, we had like 800. So
Yeah, I mean that's true. You've done a lot of work, but no, it is.
No, I got drunk at SEMA and made a video. Don't inflate my ego.
I mean, listen, you put in more work on that than anybody else has.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Is that
But,
a
yeah.
Supra?
Is that a Thupra? And we did it. But
Have
no,
you seen that video?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like if you're going to try to get credentials, like you're trying to get into an event, you either need to be like a YouTube personality, some sort of big like
Yeah.
Instagram or TikTok influencer, or you just need to be able to just be like, yeah, here's my page with like an insane amount of followers or an insane amount of subscribers.
Dude, some of your videos have a ton of views on YouTube. Granted, they're 9-10 years old, but still, you've got like over
Yeah.
100,000 views on some of these videos.
Yeah, like that's
You really don't. You wouldn't have to do a whole lot to grow your YouTube a ton more.
no, we
It
would.
requires a work.
Yeah, requires work, which is a thing
Yeah.
that we don't necessarily have time for.
Yeah,
But-
that's true. That's
yeah,
true.
and no, and like with the website, it's a lot easier to just like keep pounding out pounding out stuff on the regular for that, because I mean it could take me 20 minutes to write like a 1,500 word opinion piece.
Yeah.
Slap some photos in there, get it out, and then do the SEO magic, and voila.
Yeah. That's true. That is true. That's one thing that does suck about like YouTube stuff. Like I have a YouTube video that I'm supposed to send to one of the MB Drift sponsors. It was actually supposed to be sent to him like last week, but I need a 15-second clip. I need to film a 15-second clip to close out the video, and haven't done it yet. So whereas if I was just posting an article, it'd be really easy just to type it out and there you go.
Yeah, and just be like, I need 2 more words. Screw Flanders. There we go.
Devin, you and I need to get on a phone call these days and actually just talk about video production stuff.
Yeah.
I would love to just sit down and either pick your brand. I bet you have some questions for me as well too. I'd love to go back and forth with you.
Yeah, like I video production, like YouTube stuff, like it's so funny. Like the reason why I started doing YouTube stuff was because I got tired of people asking the same questions. And I put it on my, I started a Facebook group. Then people kept asking the same questions. So I put a frequently asked questions section. And then they kept asking the same questions still. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm put it on a website. Put it on a website. They still ask the same questions. Now I've done YouTube videos. And now people are like, oh, hey, check out this video that somebody put together that answered your question. And I'm like, oh, check that out. So it's kind of funny the transition that I've gone through, and trying to do drift YouTube stuff doesn't really go over well. Like my drift videos really get very few views, but all my technical videos really, that's where I get most of my views. Or like the recent thing I did was, putting the angle kit on my car. The technical breakdown thing where I talk about how good it is or how potentially good it is, they got some views. Me putting it on the car got a good amount of views, and then me testing it got people wanted to watch me put parts on my car more than they actually wanted to hear about it or have me talk about what it is or show off how neat it is. It's kind of funny, man. YouTube's weird.
It
It
is
is weird.
It really is. And I think on that note, we're at time. So let's go ahead and land this plane. Let's boat this bass.
Bat. You fucked
feel like
it up. I couldn't fuck it up.
Bass?
Yeah.
No, that's What do you mean? How did I fuck?
Bass this? No, it's bass this boat. Bass this boat. That's what I got to say.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
screw it up.
Yeah, I gotta
I
fuck
said
it
it
up.
right.
Yeah.
You got to fuck it up.
Yeah.
There it is. But in trying to correct me, you did it.
Two of these kind of put me out a little bit. I'm a little tipsy right now.
Perfect. Oh, well, hell, thank you, everybody, for coming and checking out this stream. If you're watching this later in the week, hey, we're here. We do this live every Monday, 7:15 Mountain Time, assuming Zach doesn't hurt himself to the point where he can't do this.
Tommy's one that's been hurting me more recently.
Wow.
Actually, it was Sierra, but
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, Sierra
Well,
was whipping that thing. She had some fun with the Raptor.
there we go. Well, thank you, Tommy, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Do you want the people to follow you on Instagram or anything?
If you want some cool Raptor videos and
Produced by
pictures,
me.
yeah, by Zach. You can check my Instagram. It's TNOE. Actually, let me make sure. T_NOE.
I don't know why I know this.
We're gonna keep getting more cool content, and the Miata should have the engine back together in a week or two. So
My goal
have
is
some more fun videos with that.
my goal is to turn Tommy into a douche bro from Draper. That's my goal.
He's already got the Raptor, so he's halfway there already.
We also do a lot of rock crawling. We've got a Wrangler. We go down to Moab a lot with that. So
All
a
right.
lot of fun videos and pics.
Well, the fact that you actually use your Wrangler for its intended purpose is really hurting the douche bro thing. So
Honestly, that might have been the funnest part about being out at Little Sahara yesterday, because the minute we roll up and they're like, "This dude's pulling up with a Raptor."
Yeah, we weren't even out of the truck yet. I was still
No.
actively unbuckling my seatbelt.
Yeah, we were setting up the cameras and everything, and all these side by sides are flying by, like purposefully coming up to us, like thumbs up. Like they thought it was awesome that we're actually using Raptors for Raptor things.
yeah.
I don't know if I told you this part, but when we were sitting on the side where we jumped, and as he was driving across, I told the guys, "Hey, get out of the way. He's going to jump the Raptor." No fucking way. He's going to fucking roll. Get the fuck out. And we hear, "Whoa," and he just launches down the hill. Fuck, dude. And then this one was like, "Dude, I got to hop in there, man.
Oh, yeah,
I got
it
to
was
hop
great.
in there."
Yeah, all the dirt bike guys were wanting to hop in the Raptor to jump it.
Oh, hell yeah.
So it was cool.
Well, there we go. And thank you, Devin, for joining us. Appreciate it.
Love you, Devin.
Yeah, man. Tell the people where they can find you and how they can do awesome stuff drift-wise down in your neck of the woods.
My social medias is at Dr. Garage, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube's, all that stuffs. I do A86 drifting things. I also help run the drift events here or one of the drift organizations here in the Carolinas, MB Drift. We host events at the historic Rockingham Speedway. So the Rockingham NASCAR track. We've been doing drift events there. So, check out at MB Drift on Facebook and YouTube, or at MB Drift Series on Instagram. We got one more event this year, November 20th. Should be pretty good. We're going to close the season out. And I think we've got 5 or 6 events scheduled for next season. If you want to be cool and subscribe to my YouTube, Dr. Garage, that'd be sweet. And if you look at any of my recent videos, I have a link to buy some sweet Corolla Beams merch stuff. Beams 3 SGE is the engine I run in my car, and that's what I kind of specialize in. I've also been hogging the mic a lot tonight, so I think I'll end with that. Thanks for having me, guys.
Okay. It's okay. I mean, this is the thing I started, and shockingly, I don't get a lot of mic time.
I'm sorry. Which one do you want there, Mike?
I don't know. It's the comedy. I mean, I like the "you're welcome" question mark. That was I kind of liked the energy of that one.
Oh, one more thing, real quick. Let me.
Oh.
Hang on, I got my gray sweatpants here. Just Engineering is the. I got to plug these guys because they help me out with this angle kit. So Corollas don't really have drift angle kits. Really, there's a couple off the shelf stuff, but to be honest, they suck. So I had a angle kit that I built in my garage, and I ran that for a while. But Just Engineering, they sent me a sweet bottle opener here with my angle kit. So Just Engineering is out of Canada, and they make some super, super sweet angle stuff. So if you're looking for an angle kit for a drift car, you should check out Just Engineering. Like, most of their kits are 70 plus degrees of steering angle and like super solid, on par, if not better than WiseFab. Personal opinion. I don't have anything to back that up other than it's the best thing out there for Corolla. So y'all should check them out. Just Engineering.
Hell yeah.
Y'all.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Devin. You know I love you.
It's funny. Every time I move someplace, I pick up something a little bit different from everywhere I live. So the y'all is kind of a southern thing. Now I live down here in the south, and I've started to talk a little slower. And
Devin, what do you call the big rocky things?
Mountains.
Yeah.
There it is.
Do that.
Yep.
Perfect. Zach, where can the people find you and your work?
Right now, I'm posting a shitload to either my TikTok or my doing the TikTok thing. That feels weird to say out loud. I'm like embarrassed by it. Or my Instagram, which is Zach Lords Media, ZACKLORDS Media, on both TikTok and on the Instagram. I try to post multiple times a week of mostly of shit that Tommy does. But yeah. And so just check me out there. And then also check out the Cam YouTube channel, which is just camautomag@youtube.com or whatever, something bullshit like that.
Yeah.
I also think we have a Facebook page as well, too.
Yes, we do.
Do we post there?
We occasionally get some stuff going on the Facebook and the Instagram page. We're at Cam Automag on both of those. Since the website is still borked, typically you get a gallery on the Facebook page. So,
We'll talk about after there.
Okay, yeah. I mean, at this point, it's kind of important to make sure that people still know we're alive and breathing. So
I have an idea.
Okay, so I mean, I
need to start writing this shit down. Like, I had 3 ideas this episode, and I think I've already forgotten one of them.
Just carry a fucking a notebook.
No,
you got a laptop in front of you that you can type something out, and like
you got a phone that you can put notes in.
The ADHD does not allow for this.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, at Cam Automag on all the social medias. We're out there.
God damn it.
Yeah.
To the last comment.
It's been a while. Yes, it has been. Yes, it has been. But thanks for showing up right here at the end. We appreciate you, bud. Yeah, at Cam Automag on all the social medias. We're out there. I swear to God, the NASA stuff and the last Salt City Drift stuff is showing up. Cody, specifically. Like, I swear to God, I'm getting photos of your FC done. So they will be done sooner rather than later. I've just had a lot of shit going on in my personal life that I've really needed to attend to. So yeah, forgive me for not pounding out the photos, because sitting in a room, maybe listening to music, maybe listening to podcasts about cults, doesn't necessarily put you in a great headspace when you're dealing with some really heavy stuff. So, forgive me. And if you don't want to do that, then I don't know, get fucked.
So motivational.
Yeah. So anyway, we will be back next week with a couple special guests to tell us about 2 very different SEMA experiences. And yeah, until then, I don't know, stay classy or whatever. Live your life. I don't care.
Bye.
Bye?
Bye? Question mark?
How does this work? I don't know how this works.
I'm Ron Bergen.